days of rain next week.
Which would be good.
Yeah, rain is needed. But can you imagine, because you mentioned the cold weather, first of all, Florida kids waking up and knowing that school was canceled because of snow and not a hurricane. And the fact that we got nothing, because if we had on the days where it was, well below freezing overnight, there would have been no school, no shorts, no anything. Bubba Watson posted they made snowmen in Florida.
Yeah, they had 7 inches of snow in New Orleans, which is crazy. Some of the pictures have been very funny because there was a picture of like an alligator just like sitting in some snow, and just like, and then the palm trees in Florida, and the like welcome to Florida sign all covered in like icicles and stuff. And he's like, that's funny.
My friends that live in Luling outside of New Orleans, they got 13 inches of snow.
Yeah,
insane.
And can you imagine that you went down to Galveston to go on a cruise to get away from the cold, and like you're getting snowed on as the ship is selling out? Do you ground a? Can you ground a ship if it's snowing?
I don't know. That sounds bad.
Yeah, but anyway, so snow is happening, but snow is not happening here, and it has been cold. A little bit warmer today and tomorrow, so get out and do something fun. Let's dive into our Lawrence Hall headline report. Want to talk this past week, Josh. The Baseball Hall of Fame announced its selections and those that made it. Billy Wagner, longtime reliever, finally made it in his last opportunity to do so. CC Sabathia, and then also Ichiro Suzuki. For some reason, somebody didn't think he was good enough and voted no. Thoughts on the Hall of Fame class for 2025? It's a little different than, in my opinion, than what they do with the NFL, because the NFL, it kicks off with the Hall of Fame.
Right.
You got the Hall of Fame game, which nobody really pays attention, but it starts football for everybody. The big bust or a big thing. Cooperstown is awesome. I picture one day you taking your boys there.
I would like to.
It is a cool city, and it all engulfs baseball. But Ichiro making it probably, no offense, Pete Rose, maybe the greatest hitter of all time.
But I mean, he's right up there, and there's all kinds of funny things that happen with the Hall of Fame and how people vote, and I think it's frankly just dumb. Mariano Rivera is the only person that's ever received 100%, and that's interesting because he's a relief pitcher, and a lot of people don't even think relief pitchers should be in the Hall of Fame. So I find that to be just kind of an interesting twist, because Billy Wagner, it did take him, like you said, 10 years to get in, and as dominant a pitcher as there's ever been. If you look at his stats as far as like K per 9 and things like that, he's up very much at the top. And then CC Sabathia, I think, is also a deserving Hall of Famer. But then when you think about it, people are like, say, why did someone not vote for Ichiro? And I sent this this tweet that I saw, I'll share it with you, Hodge. 6 people didn't vote for Nolan Ryan. 6.
Right.
That's insane.
I agree.
Like 6 people?
What wears me out, and I understand timing matters. I do. It's kind of like in track. I've said this. One year, you may throw the disc 130. And the year before, you'd have won the state track meet. But that year you did it, you didn't. I've always struggled with the Hall of Fame is, if you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer. And what wears me out is when we wait and the person has passed away and they finally get in. And I'm like, you mean to tell me he wasn't a Hall of Famer in 2015?
Yeah.
But there have been enough not good people be eligible that he became a Hall of Famer in 2024, and he died in 2023 or 22 or whatever.
I get the notion of like, you get to vote for 10 people, and there might be 10 people you think are better than this guy, and if one of those, like next year, these 3 people won't be on the ballot, so there might be someone else that gets some more votes because you have another vote to go around, so I mean, I kind of get that to an extent, but what I don't get is it seems like there's just curmudgeon-y people that are voting. Because when I read that, I did some little bit of research into the Nolan Ryan thing, because like yes, Nolan Ryan walked a lot of people, so some people kind of use that as like, well, he struck out a lot of people, but he walked a lot of people, and well, he never won a Cy Young. And then you think about it, the same people that are voting on the Cy Young are the people that are voting for the Hall of Fame. So I don't know that you could say we won't vote for you for the Hall of Fame because we never voted for you for a Cy Young. That seems like a little bit.
He struck out over 5,000 people and
Yes.
37 no-hitters.
Yes.
At the age of like 112 biblically.
12 one-hitters.
In dog years.
Like,
Yeah.
so I'm just
Like biblically, he was 105.
completely dominating pitcher that, yes, walked too many people. And when I was doing this research, one of the 6 people that didn't vote for him actually came out and like said why he didn't vote for him back in the late 90s, whenever that was, 98.
He wasn't a fan of Advil. Well,
Yeah, well,
what was the reasoning?
His reasoning was, well, if I had to choose a starter for one game, all time, he wouldn't be who I chose. So I'm like, so your rationale is he's not the very best pitcher that ever existed in your mind, so you're not going to vote for him for the Hall of Fame.
So there only should be one pitcher in the Hall of Fame. And who would that be?
I don't know. I mean, you've got different eras and different things. What numbers matter? What numbers are do you
I think
use?
he was just jealous.
So it's just, so there are people, just like I said, curmudgeon-y people voting on this stuff that have just these ludicrous ideas. And there are plenty of people, and I don't know what happened. Somebody forgot to collude with one of their buddies when Mariano Rivera got 100%. Because there's a lot of people that won't vote for the obvious first-time guy. I've read this before.
Because they're jackwagon.
Well, because so-and-so wasn't, Ted Williams wasn't 100%, so I'm not voting for this guy.
Because that person kicked his cat when he got home from work.
Like, so, yeah, so, and I assume that's the only reason that Ichiro didn't get 100%. I don't think it's because someone actually didn't think he was a Hall of Famer, because if you're that dumb, you need to not be voting.
Well, I think you do need to lose your vote. If you don't think, now I'm going to ask you this, because I think you're one that overrated may not be the right word.
You're overrated.
I'm very overrated.
Should Derek Jeter been a unanimous Hall of Famer?
Well, I mean,
maybe not.
Well, here's the thing. I think Derek Jeter is overrated in a weird way. He is a Hall of Famer.
That is exactly why I say that.
He is a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's like inner circle greatest ever Hall of Famer. But in my world, you can be 100% voted for and not have to be the greatest ever.
Would you have?
If I had a vote that year, he would have been on my ballot. He is a Hall of Famer. I think he's
no
overrated.
But that's the thing. There's no reason for you, even if you don't like him, even if you feel like you've not been the greatest statistically or whatever. He's a lot of it. The reason why he was should have been a unanimous Hall of Famer was he was the captain, he was the man, he was the leader of that group. Put that aside, you got to realize he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So if he's a Hall of Famer, like him, not like him, overrated, whatever, I've got to vote yes if I have a conscience.
I agree with that completely.
And boom, and you maybe did like people maybe during like your presidential election. You didn't like everybody, but you had to vote at least against somebody, not necessarily for somebody. So you go and you push that button, you're like, and then you walk away. And so that's my point with Derek Jeter is these people that are Hall of Famers make them. And don't get me wrong, there are going to be people when Tom Brady and J.J. Watt come in and say, well, that's 2 first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yeah, obviously.
Which now means somebody that was borderline may got it bumped out of the club, if you will, for one more year.
And that makes sense.
For example, get Darren Woodson, great safety, great Cowboy, 3-time Super Bowl champion. Get him in the Hall of Fame. What I don't want to see, we'll talk about the NFL coaches again. We appreciate Lawrence Hall, all that they do, headline report. But the Baseball Hall of Fame, I mean, you've already got enough people on the outside. I got to do a little assist here because I'm on a rant right here. I feel like a little Josh. I'm going to get Josh. I'm not going to get the table because I don't want the computer to move. But there's already enough people that are outside. We keep using the club because I always think you see the movie, okay, 2 people left, you 2 people come in now. We've already got enough people that should be in the club, outside the club, because they took some things that people didn't agree with.
Right.
Barry Bonds should be in there. Mark McGwire should be in there. Sammy Sosa probably should still be in there. Get these people in instead of trying to wait around. Well, let's wait. It's not your turn. Maybe next time, maybe next week, maybe next year. Get them in. Because what I don't want to see happen is Darren Woodson be treated like Drew Pearson. And Drew Pearson almost had to be the age of his number, which is 88. He's not that old. But he had to wait a long time and get a special veterans exemption entrance. I mean, he and Roger Staubach invented the Hail Mary. Drew go deep, boom, touchdown. Should have been in the Hall of Fame. Darren Woodson should be in the Hall of Fame. Get him in there. I want that knock on the door, Super Bowl weekend. And I don't know if they still do that. Remember?
Yeah,
the big fellow. Hey,
Oh,
congratulations.
yeah. But I think you're right. But there is some legitimacy to when new people come on the ballot that you're like this year, Ichiro and came on the ballot. He obviously is a Hall of Famer. So most people, 99.9% of them, voted for him, which meant there was someone else that they conceivably would have voted for that fell off the bottom. Now, the other thing is you get 10 votes and most of them vote for like 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's another just whole thing,
Right.
but and there are people that are legitimately borderline, back and forth. I don't think Billy Wagner was borderline. Unless you're just of those people that, like I said, there is a theory that some people have that relief pitchers are failed starters, so they're not good enough to be in the Hall of Fame. And that's a theory.
You're a quarterback in college. You're Julian Edelman, but you weren't good enough to be a quarterback, so we're going to move you a receiver, and you're still going to be effective because that's your role to be most effective for our team, and that's why we want.
Well, but they don't put kickers and punters in the Hall of Fame in football. It's like
they should. Ray Guy is.
Well,
Morton Anderson is. Justin Tucker will be a Hall of Famer, and Adam Vinatieri should be too.
But the thing is
And
like
Sebastian Janikowski because he was so big.
Yeah. If it's a position on the field and you're the best there is at it, like you should be in the Hall of Fame. But that's another rant for. We got to talk about something else. I'm sure.
Yeah, we're going to go to combat. When we come back, the best there is this year was Ohio State, and the luck of the Irish ran out. Oh, that's pretty good. We'll be back.
Ran out.
Or on out.
Yeah.
I'm with you though on I hate whenever they do that and the person's deceased or like on their deathbed. I'm like, seriously? Like,
I understand. Like
what a
Junior
disservice
I understand,
though
like,
to that
Junior-
player.
Junior
He
Seau.
died young.
I understand, like Kobe Bryant died young.
Right.
I understand people that die young because of a tragedy.
Mhm.
But when somebody has to be represented by their granddaughter,
Right. Yeah.
because even his kids have passed, I don't know if that's ever happened, but you're either a Hall of Famer or you're
Right.
not.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And
Yeah.
and I know there's some, and I'm curious to see who.
Well, the Baseball Hall of Fame is hard, like, and football too. I mean, everything changes. But there used to be like these numbers that, to be a pitcher in the Hall of Fame, you basically had to have 300 wins. Like that was just, if you had 300 wins, you were going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And then we're now to the point with like CC Sabathia being one of the beginning of this process, that the career numbers are not going to look near as good as some of the people before, because these people back in the day were pitching on 4-man rotations instead of 5, and now we're moving to 6-man rotations, and we're pulling pitchers out of the game earlier, so they're not going to have as many strikeouts, they're not going to win as many games. Their numbers are not going to look as good.
Right.
But you're still going to have to say, are these the best pitchers in baseball in this era?
Yeah.
And that's.
Well, the people that are eligible for 2025 for the Football Hall of Fame, it says that the 25 players still under consideration for the class of 2025 include quarterback Eli Manning, Fred Taylor, Ricky Waters, Anquan Bolden, Torrey Holt, Steve Smith Jr., Hines Ward, Reggie Wayne, Antonio Gates, and like Darren Woodson doesn't get mentioned. and it's not because of alphabetical order, well into, these are
On the
linemen.
25,
Maybe it's by,
time on the ballot. But see, a lot of those guys that you mentioned that you were talking to, I
no,
think
25 players that are on, that are eligible.
that's what I'm saying. But is it, how many times has he been on, how many times has he been
That I don't
eligible?
know. That I don't know.
But a lot of those guys you mentioned, I think are like, not, I wouldn't call them Hall of Famers. You know,
Mediocre. Mediocre.
but the NFL Hall of Fame is also funny because there's seems to be way more put on to like winning championships. Darren Woodson not being included makes that funnier, but it's like sometimes it's just like it's a team game, and you could be a very good player and never be on a team that was very good.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's more understandable in the NBA because there's only 5 guys on the court. So if you're extremely good, one person should be able to elevate their team to at least make some playoff runs.
Yes, yeah.
Like Dirk.
Yeah. Yeah, usually just one or two can completely change it for basketball.
As long as you have reasonable role players.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack. We're rocking and rolling hour number 1 on Friday, January 24th. We're glad that you're with us. Appreciate everybody tunes in every Friday morning. Hope you're having a great day and enjoy your warmer 2 days before the cold continues and comes back to hang out. Mentioned as we're going to break, the college football season has come to an end and a national champion has been crowned. Ryan Day doesn't have the monkey off his back of Michigan, but is national champions with a 34-23 win over Notre Dame. The game was kind of a struggle. Ohio State looked really good. Actually, it kicked off Notre Dame with a very, very impressive drive to start the game. Goes up 7-0. Riley Leonard had to be tired. Oh my gosh, they worked him. He was the bell cow, and then it was almost like they didn't know what else to do. And then Ohio State, Will Howard was listening to some of the shows I watched during the week, and they were talking about, it was actually the Pat McAfee show. They were talking about everybody saying Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders are the quarterbacks everybody's going to look at. And they're like, what about this Will Howard kid? I thought he played fantastic. Jeremiah Smith obviously was the big difference maker. But what was y'all's thoughts on the college football championship, national championship game? Ohio State is the champion. Congratulations to Evan Harris on winning our bracket challenge. Misty, what was your thought of the Natty?
Yeah, so when Notre Dame, they came out really strong, and I was like, uh-oh, like maybe we actually have a closer game than I think it's going to be. And then I kind of got nervous there with I don't know, it was like 3 minutes left. I was like, uh-oh, are they going to can they come back? But then, obviously Ohio State did what they've been doing and, pretty much dominated the rest of the game. So I had them picked. I wasn't shocked. I do like Notre Dame, but they just couldn't hang. But the first jump, I was a little like, uh-oh, maybe it is the Fighting Irish, but they ran out of gas.
Same here. I mean, I was hoping for a closer game, but thought Ohio State would win. This makes me, watching their run through the playoffs, it's like, how in the world did they lose to Michigan?
Yeah.
And just look like, because, I mean, here's the thing, and we talked about this all season, like these unbalanced schedules in these conferences where you're not playing everybody. You can go through a major conference like Indiana did without really having a very tough run of it.
If the wrong right people aren't on your schedule, like Clemson, Miami, they never played each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And like Texas had a fairly easy SEC schedule compared to some other people. And Georgia and A&M being the kind of the better teams that they had to go up against, and Georgia beat them, obviously, and then so it's hard to judge what's going on in college football because you don't just get to look at it and say, oh, well, the SEC is a good conference and they went through it, or the Big Ten, they're a good conference and they went through it, because it is unbalanced. And then, but Ohio State, all that to say, that was a very, very long-winded way to get to Ohio State losing to Michigan made me think, oh, how good is Ohio State? Are these other people that good? And then, because I thought, that they in Oregon were right up there towards the top, and then they just went through the playoffs and throttled everybody. It's just kind of like.
So do you think? Well, I'll ask this here because I've got my takes on why I think Notre Dame didn't win. Is there a shift on the conference leader from the SEC to the Big Ten, or did it just happen this year that you had Penn State, Ohio State in the top, Oregon in there? I mean, you had a very Big Ten presence, right, wrong, and different on Indiana being in there. You had a very Big Ten presence. And again, you had two in the Final Four, and Penn State played well. They just didn't play well enough to beat Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. Is there a shift, or do we just have two really good conferences in the Big Ten and the SEC?
Well, I think they're two good conferences. I think that, as we've talked about a lot, I think the shift is parity. I think that there are just more schools, more teams that are going to be able to play with the big boys. Not saying win all the games, but play with them, because those top few programs are no longer able to just hoard all the talent.
Well, I mean, you can all go shopping.
Yeah, because that used to be the way it was. Those generational programs, Alabama's, the Georgias, Ohio State would be one of those. Their backups were better than the teams that are playing starters, and that's no longer the case.
Yeah. Well, and it was like I said, I thought it ended up being a better game at the end until they realized that Jeremiah Smith is still good. And caught that big long pass instead of getting stopped. Notre Dame could not win third down.
No.
If they would have won third down, and that was to me, that was the difference in the game, is they could not get off the field on third down. Ohio State was 9 for 12 on third downs. And early on, they just literally could not get off the field. And again, I talked about this earlier in the year, and Josh thought I was wrong, and it was okay for him to be wrong on what A&M did instead of trying to still get 10 points.
We're back here.
But what I don't understand is why Marcus Freeman tried to kick the field goal to make it a 13-point game instead of trying to go still score to make it an 8-point game. And they doinged it and didn't make it anyway. So I thought it was
that was a weird call.
I thought it was an example of maybe we see these coaches, and it could happen older guys too. 38 years old, 34, Dillingham at Arizona State. We're seeing these young coaches that it kind of the moment might have been too big on the decision making of because to me it's one of those. I know math is hard sometimes, but even right then, you still are going to need two scores. And so try to get the.
Well, that's what makes it a different situation, kind of, than what we argued about with the A&M deal. But to the point that I was making in the A&M deal, you're having trouble moving the ball. You're in a situation where you can put some points on the board. I see the value in maybe doing that just to hope that you get a momentum swing. Start going in the right direction, because, it's, I mean, obviously we've had multiple schools of thought, we've argued about this stuff a lot, but when you're having a hard time scoring, sometimes just, breaking that ice might, you never know what that might lead to.
Yeah. The only thing that would have been dumber if he'd have tried to run a fake field goal right there.
Well, yeah, that would have
But anyway. All right, so you get to be Misty. You get to be the college football season's over. They've already got games. The week one is fantastic. The zeros not so much, but then you got Texas playing Ohio State. A lot of great games. 364 days to next year's college season. Not that far, but you get to be the college football committee chair. First year, ironically, when they moved to 4, Ohio State won. When they moved to 12, Ohio State won.
That was an interesting
Uh,
stat.
What would you change? What would you do? You get to be the chair. You're the Heather Dennett.
I don't even know. It's such a mess. I hate all the different conferences. I'm like, can we just do top 12? I hate the preseason rankings. We've talked about that before. I'm like, I think that should wait until like week 5 or something. I don't know what they're going to do, but yeah, obviously these certain conferences can't hang with other ones. And yeah, I'm like, just do away with it. Bloodbath, top 12 teams.
But how are you
But
getting to that?
I don't think you
But
get.
how are you getting to that?
Well,
Well, it would maybe, I don't know. That's the thing because, or if you just strip and only have like, if you do SEC and I don't know if you strip one of the other ones and combine them, I don't know, but it's a mess. I don't know what they're going to do, but they've got to obviously do something, but.
I don't think there's a whole lot of changes they have to do, but I've got some.
I don't know. Well, I don't think they're going to make a whole lot of
Yeah,
changes.
exactly.
The problem that I see is, and you mentioned it, the preseason rankings become basically the determining factor of who is considered good the whole year.
Well, you have depending on how high you rank, you have a bigger room for error that you can lose and maybe, oh, well, okay, it was early, it was there. And then you don't, if you're number 4 and you don't deserve to be, but now it's going to be hard for you to go from 4 to 26.
Well, right, because if you're a decent team and you lose 2 games, like how many say Big 12 teams lost 2 to 3 games?
Right.
But none of them started the first of the year
I
ranked
mean,
very high.
they all ended, of course, then
Oh, yeah.
Colorado got both.
Yeah, Colorado did, but another Big 12 team was also dumb. But so that whole system is set up to say like, well, and I am a Big 12 apologist, and I know they're not as good as the other 2, and that's not what I'm trying to say. But I think they were better than what the general credit was given them. The Big 12 team that did make the finals gave Texas all that they could handle, and like that. So that it obviously on the big talking point was deserved to be there. We say, okay, Arizona State deserved to be there because they made it a ball game, unlike a lot of other people in the early rounds of the playoffs. So all of that though is determined by what the preseason rankings are. And if we've just decided that half the top 10 are going to be Big 10 teams and half the top 10 are going to be SEC teams, that's who's going to dominate the playoffs. That's just the way that's going to go.
Well, I agree with you both, because you both said it, as far as the preseason rankings, because they do not mean anything on the field, but they give you an advantage before you get to the field. My changes that I want to see happen is I don't have a problem with 12. I said it over and over during the whole time. They got the right 12 in. They've got to seed them different. The other thing I'd like to see change is that I don't think that the punishment for the bye should not be I have to go on the road. Because Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, all those other teams that got in the first round got a home playoff game.
Right.
I think they ought to make that first batch of games bowls, and then let the bye team get a home game.
You should get the home game.
Get them the home game.
I agree with that.
I think that should happen. The other thing I think they got to do is and they talked about this. Joe Clapp threw this out. Dan Orlowski put this out to end these games in the season around January 1st. And they said, and based on I haven't had a chance to look at it completely, but I think you've got to stop so much of the breaks, because I think the national championship being on January 20th, even though the ticket prices were unbelievable, I looked at a friend of mine whose son was there for work, just happened to have a conference in Atlanta. Somebody didn't book that ride, whoever had that go on, but was in Atlanta. And so 2 of his friends were actually going to the game, already had tickets. So he said he was going to try to look. So Tracy and I were at Mulligan's watching the game. And so Hunter Castleberry did this for the World Series. he was hanging out at Texas Live, watching on one of the apps. And when the tickets kept going down, he found a price he could live with and convince his wife, and they walked across the street and watched. Well, I told my friend this about for her son to do. Right before kickoff, nosebleed was still $5,500.
Wow.
So I say all that. So the ticket prices, people were there, maybe they got that money for them. But I think your luster for the national championship, as much as we love football, struggled a little bit because and we love the weekend where we had 5 days in a row of playoff football, NFL. But I think they've got to find a way to end the season and the national championship before the 20th. And the other thing they got to do is we got to go to commercial. We'll come back and talk some NFL talk.
I disagree with that.
You disagree with
I
what?
loved it. I loved the last 2 weeks of the college football championship being right there in the NFL playoffs at the same time. It was just like euphoric, and I couldn't get enough of it.
And then now it's gone.
But I don't like the fact that the long break, the 2 weeks in between.
No, I don't.
That's what I don't want to see.
I don't necessarily think they needed to take quite as long a break. And they play it on Monday because there's playoff football Saturday and Sunday for the NFL, and you can't
Right.
mess with that. I don't like, and the NCAA's always done all their championships on Monday, which is just dumb.
They don't even play on Monday
I hate
during the
that.
year. They'll be on the Saturday.
But I love the way that football season ended.
I love
That was fun.
I love that everything was there, but I didn't like the fact that I just don't think it needs to go till the 20th, because my other reason why is you can cram it. And I know we talk about, because it's about to be over, we've got 3 football games left. You got the championship games and the Super Bowl. But my struggle with it is, the other thing is find a way to move back that transfer portal starting. Try to find a way to make that not going on during the playoffs, because we could say the bowls, but we had people that were in the playoffs. There was a backup quarterback for Penn State that probably maybe he knew he wasn't going to play, knew he wasn't going to do whatever, but wanted to go get paid. And so he jumps in the portal during the playoffs, and I have a problem.
I have a problem with that. I have a great problem with that. But to the other thing, I think that maybe they should expand it. It's 12's already ridiculous. Make it more. I'll have more football.
Well, okay.
You got too much time
Yes.
between
Make it 16.
between the end of the regular season and the bowl season anyway.
Sweet 16.
You got time to put some more games in there, and because like we talked about it last week, the week before, the bowls are just stupid.
They're ridiculous.
They're
All right,
dumb.
we're going to go to commercial. I disagree with that. We have time. We also have you little Lady Pirates coming in at the second hour. I'm going to tell you, Josh, why that's wrong eventually, but we're going to talk NFL when we come back right after this.
Oh, I threw my back out like which happens every so often.
The bowls are
There's too many of them too. Good grief.
the bowls.
What a waste of
Name one
airtime.
bowl game other than the
I'm gonna tell you why I'm
BYU
okay
game
with
that
it.
you're like, man, I was really looking forward to watching that
I didn't.
one.
Yeah, there was. Yeah,
Obviously, I watched the Baylor game and I was really looking forward to it. But that was Baylor LSU. It was two like Power 5 schools
Yeah,
playing. each
that's
other.
a little bit
How
different.
bad does Brian Kelly look? That I go to LSU to win national championships. I
Yeah.
can't do. The reason I like the bowls is it gives the other schools, the other kids,
The
whatever we
crappy
call it,
teams a chance to.
to have an experience.
It's
It's the NIT.
right.
We still have the NIT, because if that's the case, you should get rid of the NIT and all the other.
I don't disagree with that, but it's not good football to watch. And I don't know where this money is coming from when you have these stupid games that like, the bowl games that they have around, you get close to Christmas time, it's like every day of the week there's 2 or 3 games on, and they're on a random like Tuesday afternoon at 2:00 on, and not like on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, but just like the week before Christmas, and like nobody is watching this game. And because like most people are working. I mean, I guess there's people on vacation and stuff like that, but most people are working. And even when they show the stands, it's like they're empty.
But here's the deal.
We can afford to go to that game.
We always say it's about the money. Why would you not have these bowls if Scooter's Coffee and any other the random tax slayer or whatever?
But why are you paying for it? No,
Yeah.
like, that's what my thing is. Like,
It's a dumb
nobody is
business
watching.
decision.
Why are you paying for it?
What a waste of money for that
Like,
business.
I have a hard time thinking the companies that continue to do so aren't getting something from it. So that's why I think
it gets talked about a lot.
It must not be a bad business decision because they continue to do it.
I mean, the only people watching those games are their mamas.
Yeah. The one thing
And
I
their
will say
friends and family.
as far as the advertising of, having the Pop-Tarts bowl is, it's on all of the pick'em sheets and everything that everyone's doing. It says Pop-Tarts bowl, so you read it.
That's a different one, I feel
talk
like.
The Pop-Tart one did it smart because they got a freaking trophy.
Well,
Yeah.
they do this goofy,
I like the Pop-Tart
they do
one,
this
that's
goofy
cool.
stuff, it gets on TV.
Right, and people remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with the Pop-Tart one.
But still, do you know who played in the Pop-Tarts bowl?
Nope.
No,
It must be
not
right.
you.
Josh, you can hear Josh. He is in the green room and going to talk about. We actually just put Josh in timeout. He's having to do laps around with the mall walkers. Josh will be back in a moment. He won't be winded because he's working out. I know y'all two are working out. I got to get on that train of working out. But welcome back to the Hodge Pack as we're rocking and rolling. We were talking about college football, and now the NFL season, and there's a lot going on. Last week's divisional round lived up to a little bit of the hype. I know Josh may talk about it when he gets done walking his lap I wonder if he'll pass any mall walkers.
I don't know. We have dedicated mall walkers here, though.
There's no
Every week they're here.
And we love being in the mall, and we love getting away from the mall walkers. But
Yes.
last week, Kansas City wins 23-14 over Houston. Washington with a big upset over your kind of Detroit Lions, and Dan Campbell is gone. And not only is Dan Campbell gone, but we'll talk about it now as part of our NFL report. Coaching changes are starting to be filled. The Patriots obviously has Vrabel, but the Lions now have lost not only the season out, they've lost their two coordinators, Ben Johnson going to the Bears and Aaron Glenn going to the Jets. Jaden Daniels, again, the Commanders just took care of business and really and I wonder how much of it was the bye? Was the bye the issue? Because you got to play at home, but the Commanders take care of the Lions. Rams and Eagles game, 28-22, the Philadelphia Eagles advanced. We'll talk about the AFC and NFC championship games. I thought the Rams were dangerous, had chances to win, drops hurt them. And then, of course, the Ravens, Bills lived up. Mark Andrews raised a lot of money on his drop because the Bill Mafia donated a ton of money to the foundation of his. Little recap of that. And then we'll talk about the coaching vacancies as well. What shocked you? Was it, I guess, the shock had to be the Commanders beating the Lions.
I don't know. I mean, they're like, Jaden Daniels is like for real. Like, he does not play like a rookie quarterback. So, I mean, he is so good. I don't know that I was shocked that they won. I was shocked that it was 45-31. I was surprised at that gap. Obviously, that was a little bit of a heartbreaker for me because I've been really on the Lions den. I don't know what you call it. The Lions den, in the Lions den for the last couple of years. And God, you could just see it on Campbell's face. I mean, when they kept showing him towards the end, and his eyes, I mean, he just looked so sad.
Well, and we talked about Sam Darnold becoming the pumpkin. Jared Goff had, he had that game against the Texans, but they found a way to win that.
No, kudos to the Commanders for sure.
3 interceptions, and I just wonder. I think the NFL would have loved to see the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Detroit Lions because you would have had a chance 3 in a row or the first time ever.
Well, and they had so many injuries. That's the other thing to think about on the
That's
Lions.
what we talked about.
I mean, to compete, like, they still competed well over the last, few weeks with some major key players being out. And so what does this mean for the Detroit Lions? They're still a great football team. Hopefully they come back healthier and better than ever next year. But we have to remember they had a lot of injuries.
But I think the other thing you got to look at, and this happened to the Eagles 2 years ago. They made it to the Super Bowl, and both coordinators left. Year after that, not so good. Now they're back where they are with Bangino and Kellen Moore. What's that going to look like for Detroit next year with no Ben Johnson, no Aaron Glenn? We'll find out. I mean, you won't know till next year how much that will hurt them. Do you go find the next person that can replace two people that were on everybody's list except the people that we would like, except our team that should have hired? But Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn are gone. And I think you look last week, it's another year that's passed for Lamar Jackson, not making it to the Super Bowl, not making it to the AFC Championship. And everybody's saying Mark Andrews, the fumble, the drop. Lamar, yes, you brought him back, but you had a dumb fumble and a terrible interception, and Josh Allen didn't turn it over, and that's the reason why the Bills are playing this weekend and you're not.
And the pass that was dropped by Mark Andrews was not a good pass. Like, threw it behind him, a little low. He should have caught it. But
yeah, I know you sent that text out, and I think terrible throw was a question. I mean, it wasn't a great throw, but
all you got to do is put it in front of him. There's no one there.
Yeah, it was
like
he
it was a Cooper Rush pass.
He did have to turn his body and try to reach for it, but unfortunately, it was
he was wide open.
It was a good enough pass that still could have been caught.
I'm not arguing that he shouldn't have caught it. He should have caught it, and he would tell you 1,000 times over he should have caught it. And in fact, it's one of those things that you replay that 10 times, he catches it 9. I mean, he's a legit, all-pro tight end. But if you go into the Wayback Machine to last week, I don't know if there's any evidence of this. Hodge likes to lose things when I'm right, like they disappear. We don't record but
the streaming went down. Sorry.
Oh yeah, well, we missed it. Last week when we talked about these two games, these games going into the weekend, I said that the Redskins, the Jaden Daniels, are starting to play like they did at the first of the year, and if he continues to do that, they'll beat the Lions. And he did. That's exactly what happened. And I also said that Lamar Jackson melts in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He does.
Subscribe, review.
He does.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not.
Oh, I know. But I mean, so you asked if I was surprised about it. No, it's the stuff that I saw coming. Now, obviously, both of those games could have gone different. I'm not saying that I don't have Biff's forethought on that.
From Back to the Future too.
Yeah. But if I did, but anyway, but the whole thing, is like, yes, like the Bills played the game that they needed to play. The Commanders are good, and man, I just wanted the Eagles to lose.
Oh, I know.
And they had a chance, and it came out that Matt Stafford was playing with broken ribs, and man, it was cold. You talk about cold and snow, and Fox had to put numbers from their TV crew on the field so you knew what yard line they actually
they weren't
were
really
on.
there. I don't like that.
Yeah.
They do that, and I mean, I know it's helps you see as far as the TV viewer, but I like
players couldn't see it.
The players can't see it. And that's the thing. I'd like to. That's part of the conditions that's going on. Like if you're watching that game, it's like, I don't know. I would rather it look like it was so snowy you can't see the numbers.
It was a great way, but we cannot move on.
I was gonna say there's a big subject that we haven't touched yet, and that's Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
You are not allowed to touch him.
Well, you're absolutely right.
That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm honestly borderline I can't stand you anymore because of the way that he is intentionally stopping. Oh yeah, and now now it's a late hit.
But is it his fault?
I'm not saying it's his fault. It's just you don't need to do that. You're Patrick Mahomes. Like, what are you doing? You're better than that. That's my argument. You're better than that. You don't have to do that.
But to me, and I think there's going to be a lot of scrutiny looked at this weekend.
And that one call, obviously, we know the call. I mean, that changed the Texans could have won that game. Like, that was a huge call for them. And they didn't even hit, they hit each other. I mean, it is insane.
And there was zero head-to-head combat.
Right.
Zero.
It's just getting very, very frustrating.
Texans ran into each other.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just very frustrating.
It's got to fall more on the officiating crew than it does Mahomes.
Well, yes. I mean,
because if
he's the Vlade Divac of quarterbacks, and
and again, I hate the flop rule, which is now in high school basketball. You can call the flop. So if you ever at a game and you see people doing this, paying homage to whatever you want to call it, they're calling a flop. To me, if you're going to call that, that's got to be on you as the official. Go ahead and call it. Call it a block, call it whatever. So it's more, if I'm getting away with acting and they're calling it and I go to the free throw line every time, that's not on the kid. That's on the officiating crew. This is not on Mahomes. It's on the officiating crew.
I don't disagree with that at all, but I see where Misty's coming from.
He's playing a big role.
I'm
sick of
tired of it.
Yeah,
same. And that's the thing that I don't often submit myself to Hodge's morning routine, but my son turned on First Take the other day, and they happened to be talking about the Chiefs and Mahomes fatigue and how Mahomes has now moved into like villain role. And
because of the stuff that he does.
She's on board.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
I agree completely.
And the defender can't stop. You can't stop that quickly when a quarterback does that.
You can't.
So it's like these defenders are getting all of this batter. No, he's literally like, catch me if you can. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I already had Mahomes fatigue before all of this, and I guess the rest of the nation is like catching up. But I had it just because of all the people, and I know he's from Texas, and I know he played at Texas Tech, and you know that there is pride involved for people of that fan base and just the state in general, and I get that, but I don't understand. It's like suddenly you're a Chiefs fan, just no,
I just wrote,
and that made me mad already.
I just wrote down on my notes, Misty just had a Josh moment.
Well, I'm just like, you're better, Patrick Mahomes. If you're listening, you're better than this. Like, you don't need to do that. Quit being a diva. Just stop. You're better than that.
Yeah. Annie's an opportunity. Go ahead. You got about 30 seconds.
I am interested to see if there's blowback. There's blowback. The general
on
public,
the internet are.
Everybody is sick of it.
The general public has had it.
Yep.
And
players.
Will the blowback come to the point that in this game this Sunday, are the officials going to be paying more attention to that? Are they gonna? Because I guarantee you this: the outrage will just grow. And if there's a loosey-goosey roughing the passer call against Buffalo, it will be like massive.
Well, and what will it be like? Because here's the thing, we got to go to commercial when we come back and Misty's back. You've got two studs at quarterback. Will Josh Allen get the same type of treatment that Mahomes does on Sunday? We'll be curious. We'll see if Misty, she is mad, so I'm now nervous about her question. We'll be back right after this. I wrote down. I almost put Misty's first Josh moment, but I'm not sure if it's the first.
I think I've had a few over Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it did crack me up.
Well, yeah, obviously Josh hasn't been getting that treatment all year. What's going to change now? He's not going to get that treatment.
He's not going to get the treatment. The problem, the difference is when, like, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, like Jaden Daniels, they're running quarterbacks. You know, they step up. Josh Allen, more than any of them, like initiates contact.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, like,
Sometimes it's like,
and so
Josh, you're gonna get hurt.
I don't think they will ever get the benefit of the doubt on a close.
But sometimes Josh does the same thing on his way out of bounds.
Oh
Or
yeah.
starting to slide and fakes the slide.
I think
So
all
don't
of them.
eliminate him from that.
No, and
He
I think
does that
all
too.
of them, and that's the problem. It's like we've talked about that in the past. Then is that a penalty on the quarterback for doing that? Because the defender cannot stop.
No.
At some point, there is a point where the defender cannot stop. It's not that he's trying to knock the crap out of you. He literally can't stop because you waited too late. So
Yeah.
to me, that should be a penalty on the quarterback.
Like, I thought about this, and it's something I saw, and I wish I had the video of it, but I remember seeing it. It was Michael Vick, and I might have even talked about this before. He was scrambling around, you know, runs around the corner, like towards out of bounds, you know, like one of those things, the quarterback kind of runs, he's gonna get like 1 or 2 yards as, you know, kind of getting chased. And as he's getting close to the sidelines, he starts kind of like slowing down, like he's just gonna go out of bounds. There's a defender right here, and that defender lets up, you know, because if he hits him right here, they're gonna throw
Right.
the flag. The defender lets up, and he just
And then yes,
like,
right.
and totally legal, but if that defender plays knowing like he might make a move on me and hits him, they're gonna throw a flag.
Right.
You know, like, and so you're just put in this spots where the defenders have to let up, or they're gonna get a 15-yard penalty.
And potentially fined if it's,
Yeah,
right.
But again,
And-
I go back to the quarterback. You can't be acting like that and sliding late. And I mean, some of that has to fall on the quarterback. I'm sorry. Like, quit playing this cat and mouse game. You're a quarterback in the NFL. Like, I cannot stand
The
it.
slide rule thing is hard too, because as soon as the quarterback gives himself up to slide, any contact, it's
Right.
15 yards.
And
But
again,
then
sometimes,
I've
but it's
seen these
late.
guys, they get this close and then go like,
Right.
Did you see
almost
Jared
like you're
Goff?
sliding into.
Yeah.
Like,
And then
Jared
you can't
Goff
stop.
got lit up. I don't know if it was on one of his interceptions,
oh,
but he got lit.
I didn't
No
see
flag.
it.
No flag. Yeah.
and Josh Allen is very guilty of the very late slide.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
Like, he's not
almost like a
exempt from
takeout
this.
slide going into the shortstop. You know,
And
like-
he's one that's like, throw the flag every
Yeah.
time.
But
Like,
the internet's winning with like the travel uniforms, the throwback where the Chiefs are wearing stripes.
yes.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack. We're glad that you're with us. We're rocking and rolling. Getting close to finishing up hour number 1. We'll have the Eula Lady Pirates, Coach Fostel, bringing his seniors in to talk how their season's going. These girls have won over 100 games in their time at Eula and trying to continue on as well. But now it is time for what we love and get nervous about, but Misty's back.
So I want to pitch this event that's happening this weekend at Mulligan. So they are having, they do these benefits for families that are going through a hard time. And so tomorrow they are hosting a benefit for Tina Johnson. And so they're going to have a cornhole tournament, 4-man golf tournament. They've got a silent auction, bake sale, raffles. South of Mayhem is performing. And so they've got all these things going on tomorrow. So it might be a little bit chilly, but it is going to be nicer
It's
tomorrow.
going to be better.
So it should be good weather. So get on out to 1166 Ben Ritchie Drive and go to Mulligan's and help this sweet family. All right. So the question, and I think we may have talked about this subject before, but today we're going to talk about kids of old and kids now. What is a struggle, we probably had many, you had as a kid that kids now won't ever know? They won't ever feel the struggle.
Oh, there's so many, like walking to school up over the
Well, yeah,
In
in the snow.
snow's long.
yeah.
No, there are a ton that I think of all the time with watching my children.
Okay. Go ahead, Joe.
No, what are you gonna say?
All right. Oh, this is so funny. I was never good at this, and you could tell by when I was finished, and then I would maybe try to get somebody to help me do it. For whatever reason, and you probably understand this, not being the handyman that I am.
I know you're not a handyman.
Right.
I know that you own a tool.
Oh, no, I
I
do.
think I have more tools than
No, I
Hodge.
have them, I just, maybe still being a rapper.
You're
But,
not a tool though, so that's good.
I appreciate that, yeah, shut your mouth, Josh. Is, covering your book. You
Do
remember
you
when
miss it?
I do not miss it. I don't know where the accent
You gotta
came.
fold it just right.
Yeah, but you know when you got the book covers. And,
First day of school.
yeah, and they gave you a book cover, and you'd have to start covering your algebra book and your biology book, and I would try. It's like watching me wrap presents. It's a struggle, and so those kids will never understand the struggle of trying to cover a textbook.
Yeah, 'cause now they're just like all paper.
They're there. All right, we're going to pause real quick for station identification, and we'll kick off hour number 2, because that's just one of the struggles I've had. Yeah, I was terrible at covering my textbook.
You wasted more
Because that's
time.
what the question is.
Like more, do you remember it?
can't
You'll
take
like,
it to the book because then it like won't open right. You know,
Hey,
you know.
read the
Yeah.
question.
okay, so I want to say the question again, because I know we probably have several, but what is a struggle you had as a kid that kids nowadays won't ever know?
And so what I said, if you're just now joining us, and again, we're kicking off hour number 2, brought to you by Coleman County State Bank. Get you a new, maybe you like a new president, new the things, new homes. Reach out to Coleman County State Bank, and they'll get you taken care of. Their mortgage team does a great job. And I mentioned covering textbooks, and you have people, ride on them like it was a cast.
Yeah, you draw some pictures.
And people would sponsor them. I mean, yeah.
All the different logos. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like fancy times when they were white.
Yeah.
Oh,
and-
the slick paper ones.
Yes.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
Oh, I
don't-
just
I
got
don't-
So
chills
the
thinking.
thing that I struggled with as a kid that these kids would never understand is covering a textbook.
Okay, that's a good one.
One of the things that I do think it seems like very olden days now, that kids don't have to worry about nowadays. We live in the country, but we have fiber internet and all of the streaming services and everything else. There's no like real setback to that. But when I was a child, we lived just, it was very funny, not very far out of town at all, but it was too far out of town to get cable. That was like, you just couldn't get cable. And at the time, satellite dishes were like something you got from NASA, like.
And dial-up internet, remember that?
Well, this is before the dial-up internet. This is
Yeah.
before that.
If the satellite company went to drill and put that satellite on your house, it would tip it over.
Yeah, like gigantic, huge satellites, like not dish, things like that. So we had 3 channels. That was it. There were 3 of them, and the only time that they played any sort of cartoons was just on Saturday morning. And you had like that limited window, like that. That was it. So the whole rest of the week, like you had. If you went to turn on the TV before school, you got like Good Morning Big Country or something like that. That was it.
Robert Sue is still doing it.
Yeah, right. And so that was it. There was just zero entertainment on demand. And part and parcel to that is you had to watch commercials.
Oh yeah, I forget
Yeah,
about
you-
commercials.
You had to watch commercials. Nowadays, it's like if we're ever in some strange like alternate universe where you're forced to watch a commercial, my children lose their mind.
Yeah, there's no patience nowadays.
But-
That's for sure.
Well, and that's
because
why,
it's
but that's
instant
why,
access.
and of course, we love advertisers, we love sponsors, and all
Yeah.
that. That's why it's so important, and that's why I think you see insurance companies, you see, people that are on, of course, Lotto and those that doing their commercials, they've got to be good because you want to draw them in. And so that is big. Misty, what's some of yours?
So one of mine is, these kids nowadays will never know the struggle of a phone that's not cordless. I mean, I remember like hiding behind the couch before cordless phones were a thing, and I'd be like, hey, yeah, like whispering, and especially if I was talking to a boy, I didn't want anybody to hear what I was saying. And then when the cordless phone came out, oh my gosh, I was like walking all over the house, excited. But these kids, in terms of like the privacy of having a phone call, like they can just go to the room, go wherever because they have a cordless phone. And so that was one I thought about. And then having to memorize your friends' phone numbers. Mm-hmm. Like back in the day, I had everybody's number memorized.
I saw a guy post, it's a preacher I follow on Facebook or whatever. He posted basically a phone book, all the stuff you wanted, everything hidden there. He said, there used to be a book that had your name, address, and phone number for any psycho to come find you.
I know, but now everyone thinks they have privacy. It's like, you've never had privacy. Yeah. Like you have even less with the internet. But to that point, and I've thought about this also, it goes with that. Nowadays, children seem to miss the time frame of, all right, I'm going to go make a phone call. You pick up the phone, you call, and then as the phone's ringing at your friend's house phone, you don't have a clue who's going to answer. It's like mom, dad, brother, sister.
Right.
Like, so you have to have that conversation of like, oh, good evening, Mr. Holmes. Is
can Hodge come out to play?
Is Hodge there?
And what about library cards? Like how we had to write down, or not the card, like in the catalog. Yeah. You like to check a library book out. We had to like pull out an index card and put our name.
Right. So, but going back to the textbook, it was always funny when you got the textbook and you looked for it.
Right.
Like, oh, that's cool, man. That was Vice Buttons. Look.
Right. Or you got it because it was, or you had a crush on whoever, and you're like, ooh, so and so read this book, so I'm gonna get it. I mean, it's just these little.
Well, and I think the other deal that these kids will never enjoy, and maybe you might if your parents are old enough and still have some nostalgia about them, is feeling like you're magic when it comes to getting your Nintendo game to work, because you blew inside the cartridge. You blew inside the thing, and then you hit the sides a little bit, and you put it in just right, and you would hit it, and you hear, bing, and now you're playing RBI baseball.
I would wedge another game on top of the game to hold it just right.
Yeah.
And then
that is the closest I've ever been to IT department. It's fixing the Nintendo to be able to play Tecmo Bowl, RBI baseball, or double dribble, or the occasional, I want to try to beat Mario Brothers again. Domination, yeah.
And you kind of alluded to this, but like, be kind and rewind. Okay, people. Yeah. Our kids, I mean, sitting there after you got a tape and had to rewind it because you got like a little credit, and then if you went to Hastings or Blockbuster and you brought it back like the next day, you would get a credit. And I don't know, like going.
Or you'd get charged 50 cents or $1 if you did rewind it. Yeah. And here's the other
deal. That was always fun. I liked going to like Hastings and like looking around.
Walking through the Blockbuster with a group of friends in high school, like trying to decide what movie you're going to
hiding the DVD,
go back to watch.
Yeah, so nobody gets it.
Here's the other deal about that. They will never understand, and we've got some kids coming in now that will not understand, and Coach Postel does, because he and I are about the same age. Is a movie was coming out or a game that you were renting, because you could rent video games or movies, would be to run over and see if whatever movie it was in. And the cartridge, the VCR cover, or it might have been the VCR cover, would be lined up. And the good movies would have like 50 of them. And then you would go over to see if one was in. And if it wasn't, you would go over to the guy working. Yeah. Hey, did anybody drop this in? That they would never understand.
But that to me was so
because
fun.
Now you could go to Netflix and like, okay, we can watch it, or we can watch it again, or watch it again, and watch it again.
Yeah, it's much more frustrating on Netflix to scan through and decide what movie you're going to watch. Mm-hmm. But it does, that's as close as you get to like going to the Blockbuster and walking up and down the aisles. And being
Well,
like,
because you would
"Yeah."
have to, and I know we got to go to commercial because we got some other stuff to talk about, is the other frustration would be just like Netflix. If a movie that you wanted to watch went off of Netflix, or if the movie that you wanted to get at Blockbuster was not there, now you had to figure out what was plan B. Because you were
Right.
going to get majorly, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a movie.
I'm thinking
that
like
was,
Scream. I remember when the
Scream
Screams came
came
out
out.
and all the,
And
they
you
were
would
all
go,
lined up.
and then when they weren't there, you're like, what are we going to do?
Yeah, and then I
Uh,
would search behind the other ones to see if somebody hid it.
Yeah.
Or like, you try to find the movie, I don't know, just fun stuff.
That is real. Kids need to get a little taste of what we had to do when we were growing up. That's right, Mom. Hard knock life for us. These kids don't know what they're talking about.
It would make you more patient. It, that
Well,
make,
and this
Absolutely.
this is such a great question because it could be a whole segment. The other thing that they would not understand is that it's okay. In cell phone times, I need you to respond today. They'll never understand the greatness of calling, leaving a message on a answer machine on a Monday, and getting a call back on Wednesday being okay.
Oh, yeah, no.
But
Not a thing
now-
ever now.
it's instant.
Yeah.
And so anyway, what's instant is will Kansas City get another flag on the other opposing team because of
Of
Patrick
course they
Mahomes?
will.
We'll preview the AFC, NFC championship games, and then we still have the Lady Pirates from Eula chance to continue on legacy and talking about a guy that's definitely outnumbered in his household. That'll be Coach Foster. We'll be back right after this.
Hello, how are y'all?
Good.
Y'all look so cute.
It's homecoming, y'all don't understand.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Basketball
that's right.
homecoming,
I
yeah.
forget. That's right. That's right.
If y'all are good, that way y'all can get back, we can go ahead and bring them on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave early.
Okay, how early?
Well, that was at the end session, I gotta be at 9:30, but I gotta be prepared for.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and have them,
Okay.
or no, when do you want to leave?
No, I was planning on leaving like 8:45. But whatever works.
No, that's fine, we'll do them now,
Okay,
and then we'll finish at 8:45, and then
Yeah.
Mitch and I can bring it home.
okay.
All right, ladies, y'all will take a mic, and we'll let Coach Fostel have the
So
other.
let's move this one so y'all can
Get it,
stand.
Josh Berry, Josh Berry.
Just be sure you get really close to the mic.
Still,
And you can, since you are gonna stand, you can move it.
oh, okay,
But just make sure you get pretty close.
yeah.
No, I'm not talking to Moses. Trying to decide who's talking.
Okay, who's who? I mean, I know you gotta be Haley,
Yes. I'm Lainey.
Laney.
Laney is in overalls.
All right, here we go.
Layla's in the hoodie.
That's right. They can't see my pants.
No, you're probably good.
What was this before?
A travel,
I
Oh,
told you.
travel agency,
I
yeah.
told them.
yeah, it was,
The trip wasn't
were you always on the phone, or did you ever go to the other one?
I went to the other one once
Downtown,
with
yeah.
Matthew Booth and those
Yeah.
guys, and then we were on the phone with the last
Yeah.
guy. I was on the phone.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's been a nice,
That other place was awkward.
well, you didn't know if the elevator was gonna work.
Yeah.
True story, you would get in the elevator, and it would start going
Downtown Abilene.
downtown Abilene, the building, and we were on the 8th floor, which overlooking Abilene was cool. But the elevator would go, and it would get to the 7th floor, and the door would do this. And it was like whoever's working the lever, you didn't know if you were about to be stuck on the 7th floor.
And nobody else was there.
Oh, nobody was there except the little security guy at the bottom, and I didn't have his number, so it'd have been bad. So we'll talk, senior year, just, they'll be easy questions. We'll start with Coach, and then, how long have you been on the girls' side?
This is my 4th year, when they were freshmen.
Okay. So y'all got Gordon tonight?
Yeah, they're not bad.
I had them very early against Cisco.
Oh,
It was like, might have been, it was Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
Like a random 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not, they were really good last year, lost some of the seniors, so they're kind of down, but they're pretty athletic.
I've already decided I'm not reffing the second round of the playoffs. Not that I would. I want to watch the Jake and Gordon game, and
Oh, yeah. That's what we're big Rugby Lions fans about. We need our girls. If their girls lose, then we'll get Huntley or Westbrook first. So,
I don't know how good Ira is. They had a big.
Rugby beat and Ira beat Highland both times, and that's who Rugby plays. So,
They play Highland.
but it's at Highland. So,
Maybe they'll come off the big dub and.
yeah. It should be pretty tough.
All right, we got. All right, last commercial. Here. What number did you hit? Did you just recently hit 600 wins?
Yeah.
I saw Earl Crab hit 775.
Yeah. They're good. It was a far away now. We played them this summer. They're really good. We got a chance to go pretty far.
Welcome to the Hodge Pack. Welcome back. It's time when you hear that. Our Big Country Electric My Town segment brought to you by Big Country Electric Cooperative, taking care of their members each and every day. Three amazing offices, Roby, Snyder, and Stanford. We highlight the local player coach program, and we're doing all three today. Joining us in our Potosi Live studio is head coach for the Eula Lady Pirates, Josh Fostel, along with Haley, Laney, and Layla. We are glad that you are here this morning. I hope you're not missing a very important class or anything. Hopefully they're tuning in on KLGD1069.com. Coach, we appreciate to have you this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
And we're talking, one of the things that's different, Eula doesn't have football. They got homecoming tonight, so we excited about homecoming. Laney, we excited about homecoming?
Yep.
There you go. Last homecoming, 3 seniors this year. So what is homecoming like for Eula? Tell us a little bit. Homecoming on the basketball side of things. When my uncle, or not my uncle, my grandfather was a principal at Adrian, small school, they had homecoming during basketball as well. So what's that like?
Well, it's a little bit different, especially for the team you're playing, because most of the time it's somebody that doesn't even realize that would be happening during this time of the year. But on the girls, now being on the girls' side, you face all the stuff that football coaches face. Like you're hoping that we still want to be focused.
Still a little focused, yeah.
And like Haley tonight is a homecoming nominee, so
Congratulations.
I'm hoping that she can start thinking about that after our game, because it'll be at halftime of the boys' game. So lots of stuff coming in, but Eula does it right. We'll have a great crowd. Lots of people come back, so it'll be good.
Is there a parade?
There isn't. We've had one in years, but it's kind of comes and goes. It's not the best time of the year for a parade. We had a couple where it was, 20 degrees.
Right.
So we haven't had it in a few years, but we used to. So.
Well, and I'll tell you, if you're looking for tonight to go watch some good basketball, I've had fortunate to been buddies with Coach Fostel in my coaching days and watching them play. They do a good job. You're going to have some really good teams in the gym tonight, with both you and Gordon on the boys and girls side. Of course, Gordon coming off the state championship. So now you better get there early. I don't know, may have to go to Stuff Hub to get a ticket. But so, Coach, you've been at Eula a long time. Went from Rotan to Eula, right?
That's right.
And so won a state championship on the boys side. I joked in the break a while ago about being outnumbered in your house. And it's 1 to what?
5.
yeah. So he's definitely outnumbered, but made the move. Obviously makes sense. Laney and Layla's last name is Fostel. So what has that been like, making the move, and how different is it now knowing you're fixing to have some graduate?
Yeah, well, when my oldest graduated, I didn't get, I just got to watch her, but sometimes we'd have boy stuff and missing. So, just wanted to be more a part of my own kids' life. And so as far as the move, like it's, totally different. I was ready for a different challenge and stuff. So, but it's been everything I could have hoped for and more. Like it's been really, really fun getting to coach my own, although, sometimes there's struggles with that, but just being on the girls' side, just being able to work on, it's almost, somebody told me on a sweep, it's almost like a different sport because it is totally different. So, but it's been good, and I've had a great group to kind of get everything going the way we like to get it going with this group of seniors.
Did you reach out to people like Clay when you made that? Coach Barnett, who's been on, went from boys to coaching girls. Did you reach out to guys like him?
Oh yeah, I have lots of my good friends that have done that. Coach Cooley over at Jim Ned, of course, and then Clay Barnett and numerous others. Scott Richardson's been back and forth. So I did, because like and it took me a while. I think our first year when these girls were freshmen, we started out like 1-6 or something, and so
that was foreign territory for you, I'm sure.
And so there's differences, but I have a great assistant, Coach Smith, and me and him have kind of learned. He was coming over from the boys' side too, so we've kind of learned together. So it's been good.
All right, so Layla, what is it like? I'll ask both of you, playing for Coach and playing for Dad?
It's fun, but it's also challenging. I find myself having to hold back a lot. It's hard, but it's
probably wouldn't have it. Grateful.
Yeah.
What about you, Lainey? What's it like? I mean, do we watch a lot of game film around the table? What's dinner like? Of course, we talked. They do a great job. I started doing the little hospitality room for games. Again, I was there the other night, and your mom basically said, we want to eat a normal meal every once in a while. I mean, concession stand food is fantastic. Go buy and donate to the whatever charity and that program that's getting the money from the concession stand. But what's it like for you, Lainey, playing for Dad?
I don't think we really separate basketball and home life. We don't talk about it much at home, as much as someone would think we do. I mean, we talk about the good, don't really focus on the bad and stuff. That's for film and for practice. I mean, I'm more worried about coming home to my little sister.
Oh, there you go.
After we lose than my dad. So
there you go. She's probably excited, doesn't care what happens there for you.
She's mean.
Oh, she's mean.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Haley, you had a big night the other night against Ranger, right? Was it?
Yeah.
1,000 points. So what's it been like? You're all three seniors and apparently a homecoming nominee tonight. What's your run been like as a senior in realizing, of course, the corner you love, for the record, like you were just burying threes in the corner the other night. So what's your senior luck been like, and did you know you were approaching 1,000 points?
I knew, not too far in advance from it, but I knew I was close. I just didn't know I was that close.
Right.
But I never expected that I would hit 1,000.
That's a lot of points, and when you think about that, of course, it takes team. You can't make passes. You can't. Well, I guess you can never pass, but then you probably will be on the floor because Coach Foster says it. But talk about what that means to this group of girls, how well they're playing together, and the legacy that they're leaving, hopefully with a trip to No Longer the Drum, RIP. What does that mean for you and your daughters being a part of that?
Yeah, it's been really special. Like I said, they've set the bar of what it takes to accomplish, and so they've gotten to accomplish. But what makes me most proud is we have a junior, a really good player for us that hit 1,000 points earlier in the year. And so the fact that you have multiple players that can contribute is good. And, this group is just like you always hear, kind of cliche, but like they're not really worried about who gets the credit or so. Those individual milestones, I think they understand those individual milestones come when you have good people around you, because people can't concentrate on Haley, or they can't concentrate on, there's no one person you can concentrate on, and so that opens things up for everybody else. And they share the ball really well, and so that's what makes it fun. I mean, not every year is like that with your team, but I have no complaints.
Well, and again, Eula's been a place where people know good basketball is there. So as seniors, what do you want to be remembered? What legacy do you want to leave? And we'll let you all three answer that question. What do you want that to leave? Knowing, hey, because it is special to get to play for your dad. But what is it that you want to leave behind for the mean little sister and that are going to be Lady Pirates one day? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? And we'll let Lainey and the overall go first.
Okay. Definitely just work hard. I mean, I feel like everyone on our team puts in a lot of work, and I would like to think that shows when we play. And I think as a program, we definitely, especially like my first year here as a freshman, there was not a lot of gym time, like not a lot. Like everyone's in the gym all the time, and I would like to see that continue because it's a good program and it's a good like mentality that I think we've developed as a team, and I'd like to see that passed down.
Go for it.
Since she already said work hard, I'm gonna go with just connecting with your team. It's really fun to play and it's really fun to win, but the most fun part is every day when I get out of school and I go to practice, I get to hang out with my best friends for 3 hours. I get to travel with them. I get to go on trips with them. So having that connection with your team is just really special.
So Haley, what about you? What legacy do you want to leave?
Kind of what they said. Just I just really want them to like keep working hard because yeah, it might not be easy, but working hard does pay off.
Yeah, and it is. It's something that you can leave behind, and you want to pass the torch to the junior and to the young kids and say, let's keep Eula on the map of lady basketball or women's basketball because you did that with the boys. You went in the state championship, went to, how many times did you go to Drum?
3 state, once was, the last one was COVID, so we lost our state semifinal in Denver City, but 3 trips to the state tournament.
And so it's a big deal. That's kind of going away. I want to ask you, what's your thoughts on the new playoff system?
Well, the fact that we may be facing either Westbrook or Hermley in round 1, so we'll have one top 10 team will go home in round 1 is a possibility right now. So that part of it, personally, right now, I don't like.
Right.
But I understand it. I was fine with the old system, but I understand that there's 12 state championships in other sports. Basketball, should be no different. So I get that part of it. One thing that does, I think UIL, talking to people on the TABC board of directors is working on is I hate that there's going to be kids that make it to a state semifinal and they don't get to experience a state tournament.
Right.
Because you got to make it to the state championship game to get to the Alamo Dome. So I hope that changes in the future. But what it means for this group is we just got to try to make it to the state championship game.
Right.
So.
Well, and again, it's one of those, I joked with Tipton at the state football tournament. I said, the only thing that was, I don't like that it's right in the middle of a realignment, and this is how they did it.
Yeah.
And I said, the only thing that was the dumbest thing that the UIL ever did was the Texas Cup. Because you could make it to the state tournament, win a state championship, and play on Saturday and lose your last game. I always thought that was dumb. So, but it'll be interesting to see how the end of the season goes. Eula, Gordon tonight, again, at Eula. If you're going to go, you better get there early because I'm sure homecoming will be packed. Are you working on you don't have your acceptance speech ready, do you?
No.
Okay, good answer, because I'm focused on the game. But anyway, Coach, I appreciate you coming in. We've been friends a long time, and I hope you have a great run, not only with your daughters on the team, but just this group that started your career on the girls' side 4 years ago, and hopefully it's a big run.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Appreciate you guys having us, and hopefully we can keep winning basketball games.
Hey, that way, if they come back in, that means it's a big playoff run, so we'll be all for that. Again, Haley, Layla, and Lainey in the overalls. Homecoming football, Gordon knows what homecoming's about, so it'll be interesting to see that. Y'all got moms?
Oh, yeah.
All right, moms, garters, and everything out at Eula tonight again, playing Gordon. Again, we appreciate Big Country Electric Co-op sponsoring our My Town segment. And again, Fosdale does a great job for a long time, and hopefully that will continue. When we come back, we're going to talk the NFC, AFC championship games. Are y'all Mahomes fans?
Not really football fans.
Oh, there you go. That's right. They don't have it out there. And there you go. Good answer. We'll be back. Oh, that's funny. That's good stuff.
Yeah, that's what 2020's COVID. I've always hated it for that group.
So they go.
Golden State tournament, like, we played our state, next one in Denver City, and got, two, so, yeah.
Wow. We'll take a quick photo, ladies and coach. She'll take it.
Where you want us?
We just normally go in front of here with that banner there.
Okay, let's line up like right here in front.
In front of that banner.
Yes. Yeah.
You didn't want to go overalls?
Mine are at school.
Okay.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Or,
All right.
well, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
I hope I didn't give your game plan away that you like the corner. At least that night you're.
Hey,
Well, let's count the ring. Didn't
Yeah.
Thanks.
I appreciate
Bye,
it.
thank
Josh.
you. Are you going to the bathroom?
Do you need to go?
Yes.
I'll be quick.
Did you enter the contest?
I did.
What night?
The last one was 15, is that what it was? Still coming back out.
Oh my gosh, I'm super close. What cute girls. I was never that cute at that age.
Oh.
The kids nowadays look better than the boys and girls, I feel like, look better,
Well, I do think that there's a,
especially the girls.
well, they,
I don't
But
know
the
what
thing
it
is,
is.
but here's the deal, I've noticed that, like, if you look at, just a TV show from the nineties, you know, a pop star from the nineties.
Yes.
You know, it's like, they don't look,
Maybe we have better makeup now. I don't know.
so it's not just that, like, the kids, it's like everybody.
True,
You know, you
yeah.
just have a different.
And we have better makeup. I mean, we have different things we can inject into our faces, you know, all that stuff. But yeah, I guess you're right. I haven't really noticed, but yeah, everybody. How about Carrie Underwood, like singing a cappella and just killing it?
Oh, she knows it.
Gosh, she's so great. I want to be her when I grow up.
Here, I don't want to forget.
Oh, thank you.
Merry Christmas. So glad you're here.
Oh, yeah.
Christmas in January.
We'll talk, we'll get to the AC, NFC and picked it, but we haven't talked about Brian Schottenheimer, so we're going Cowboys.
I'm over them.
Bringing the action to you on the Hodge Pack 106.9, the Country Giant. We're glad that you're with us. Hope you're having a great day, great Friday, and he knows I'm probably going to read it, so I got to. One of our favorites that listens all the time. What a great representation of you. I heard they have one of the best looking school board members in the state. That's Corey Jenkins, and we'll let them vote for that as they listen on their way back to Eula. Homecoming, still one of the greatest T-shirts I've ever seen is Eula football still undefeated.
I love that. Yeah.
Good stuff. One of the things that is undefeated is, actually it's very defeated, is Jerry Jones' coaching selection. We talked over there are only 2 jobs now open in the NFL. Patriots hired Vrabel, Bears hired Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator for the Lions. Aaron Glenn, the defense coordinator, is now with the Jets. I take it back, there's 3. Raiders have not filled their job. Liam Cohen offensive coordinator for the Jaguars is the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers is the new head coach for the Jaguars. The Saints job is still open, and so is the Dallas Cowboys. And it looks like, for whatever reason, Pete Carroll's coming in to possibly interview, but Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator, who did not call plays, mind you, has had interviews of 4 and 5 hours reportedly. Surely, and don't call me Shirley, we're not going to hire Brian Schottenheimer.
Oh gosh, I hope not.
It doesn't like,
But at this point, I
it reads
mean,
no sort of like enthusiasm.
no.
No.
But are we surprised within recent years? I mean, but we're
Well, who
going all
was
in,
it?
baby.
Well, it was Evan Cohen on Unsportsmanlike, I think, that said, is there a chance that Jerry says, hey, should we call Mike and bring Mike back? Because I don't understand what the thrill or what the thought process is. I mean, Brian Schottenheimer was the offensive coordinator, but didn't even call plays. Why you would bring him? All right, so we're getting close to the Super Bowl and all those things. How soon do you think we'll have a coach?
I don't know. I mean,
There's always Kellen Moore.
Well, and that's the other thing. I think they need to change that up because we didn't interview Ben Johnson for whatever reason. Maybe we didn't want him. We didn't interview Aaron Glenn. We didn't. I don't know why. But when they're in the playoffs, could you move? We talked about moving things during college football. Would you be open to moving? You could not start interviewing coaches officially. You could tamper and send a text and all that, but you could not start interviewing people until the Super Bowl was over.
No, I don't think that needs to be the case because if you have your guy and you're ready to move forward, then do so. And if you want to gamble on, I want this coach from this staff, and I can't make that move until after their season has concluded, then that's on you. Because it's not like that, they all have agents. You can talk to their agent. You just like, you could put the bug out. The agent could say very easily, like, not something that we're interested in. Like.
So, would you want Kellen Moore in this situation right now? Who are you wanting?
I don't want anybody. Yeah, I mean, to me, I'm like, what choices do we have? I mean,
Well, Grant Cunningham, he's been on a couple times and loyal listener. He's a fan of Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator for the Jets.
I mean, that would be an option.
Pete Carroll now is surfaced as a possibility. But my thing is, I don't think it's a justice, whatever, for Kellen Moore. Maybe he is the guy, but for the Saints or the Cowboys or the Raiders, but he cannot be touched until maybe this weekend or maybe till February 10th when the Super Bowl's over. And I just think, how many people are you having to settle for because you can't really go get the guy that you want?
It's your risk. It's your business. Run it how you want to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You mentioned Robert Saleh. I think he's a serious coach that getting away from having to coach Aaron Rodgers might make him better. When he was, I've mentioned this before, but when he coached the Jets, their defenses were good. He just had Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers as quarterback, and then he got fired.
I think if you do that, and I want to get our picks in because I want to be respectful of your time, Josh, is that for the championship weekend, it doesn't. You just got to make sure. Let me put this out. I'll let you go first, Misty. Do you want an offensive head coach or a defensive head coach?
I mean, I feel like our defense is better than our offense, and so I would probably lead more offense because I think our defense is more capable at this point in time. Healthy, if they're healthy.
Same question, Josh.
I don't mind either way. I want a head coach who can lead. I want a head coach who can motivate men to do what they're supposed to do on the football team. And you've got assistants,
For a reason.
yes. I mean, if you're strong, defensive minded head coach, offensive minded head coach, whatever, you can help in that phase of the ball, and you might have some things that will make that phase of the ball better. I don't think either one of those things should be the number one concern of the head coach.
I want somebody that can come and create a culture, and I know we use that
Exactly.
word a lot,
Yeah.
but that can weed through the junk that comes with Jerry
But can anybody do that?
and
That's
find
the
a
million-dollar
way to,
question.
because you're about to have to deal with Jaden Daniel on repeat for a long time.
Mhm.
You're going to have to deal with the Eagles, who are very competitive, very good. Giants aren't that great, but I do believe you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You have the best receiver possibly in the league. You're going to have to add some stuff to that, but you've got the brand, all the things that the formula for success is within, as long as you can bring the pieces
Right.
together.
And your strategy and your what you put on the field as far as like your play calling and things like that on both offense and defense, I don't want or need the head coach to be in that day to day.
I don't need him having that responsibility.
No,
I agree.
he set the culture, lead men.
And
That-
go find your Ben Johnson and find your Aaron Glenn.
Because those guys, whoever takes those positional, like your quarterback coach, your wide receiver coach, all the way down the line, that are working on that same culture, that are following the same program, getting buy-in from staff, from players, from ultimately fans, that's what I think the head coach should do.
And for the most part, and this sounds I don't mean this morbidly, this needs to be the last head coach you hire, Jerry.
Yeah, nothing's going to change until Jerry dies or he decides to step back and allow a head coach to be a head coach. I mean, if history repeats itself, this is where we're at. And so I'm just not excited
if
about
I'm
anything
Jerry,
Dallas
If
Cowboys.
I'm Jerry, and this is my last thought, and then I want to do the championship games, it needs to be your last hire. It needs to be your last head coaching hire. So, Kansas City, Buffalo, Philadelphia, and Washington. They've both played. Obviously, Washington and Philly have played each other twice, being in the same division. Split. This is the butter match to go to the Super Bowl. Who do you have winning? And then we'll finish with the Bills and the Chiefs.
I decided that this week I'm just going straight, like what I want, not what I think necessarily.
So what do you
Commanders.
want? What you really, really want? What you really, really want? Is the
Commanders, which is the lesser of two evils, because I don't really like them, but I disdain the Eagles.
At 100% agree. That's where my logic is. Commanders.
I've got the Commanders as well, and I think you look back and they're going to wonder, should we have hired Dan Quinn? Is Dan Quinn the difference? What the difference was, I don't think it's so much Dan Quinn. I don't think it's so much as Cliff Kingsbury. I think it's the culture. They changed from a terrible Daniel Snyder situation. They brought in people. They added people. They're talking how Austin Eckler, who hadn't been a whole lot this year, could be a difference maker on Sunday. They change things in a year. That's why if you hire the right person, you can do that in Dallas as well. All right, the big matchup is going to be Kansas City, Buffalo. Can Josh Allen, who is 0-3 in the playoffs, but 4-1 in regular season, can Josh Allen and the Bills Mafia change things? Misty, what do you see in this one?
I mean, yes, can they? Absolutely. Gosh, I'm nervous though. I'm just like that. I don't know. Obviously, I'm going for the Bills. I want them in the Super Bowl. I want them to win a Super Bowl. I don't know. I think it's going to be close. Josh has to be perfect, no interceptions, in order to make that happen. I think we will. I don't know if we'll see some big calls like we did in the Texans game. It would not surprise me. It's going to be interesting to see what the officials do regarding the quarterbacks. And if it is truly one-sided like it has been for the Chiefs all season. But I'm going Bills Mafia.
I'm going Bills in this too. I do think that.
Back to your want, or that you think that will happen?
Well, it's 50-50. I do think that this is a more evenly matched game than the Eagles Commanders, in my opinion. And I'm not saying I want the Commanders to win, and I'm not saying they don't have a chance, but things will really have to go their way. I do think that this matchup is one that will come down to a few key plays being the difference, because they're both very good teams. They both have quarterbacks that are right there in the top, if not the top two quarterbacks in the NFL. I would wager that they are. And as we saw last week with that game, when the Bills squeaked by with the surging Baltimore team, it's like it really was just a few plays that made the difference. And I feel like this game is going to be the same way. The line on it is Kansas City -1 at home, which basically says that it's like,
Pick 'em.
It's pretty easy.
I think
Pretty even.
I think Josh Allen has to play well. I don't. If no interceptions is perfect, I agree with that. But I think the difference maker is they're going to have James Cook is going to be huge. If they can run the football, now it really makes that defense, who's really good, two-dimensional on what Buffalo can do. Bills. I got the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs, and kind of like Ric Flair said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And until that happens, I don't see why you go against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And I have the Chiefs.
Do you want a three-peat? Like,
I'd like to see it.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, is there a little bit in your pick that you're like, hey, I want to see this for history?
I do not want that at all.
For historic reasons.
I do think the Chiefs.
Why do you want a three-peat? Just because it's never been done, or because it's
I think
the
never
team,
been
it's
done.
Andy Reid?
Never been done. Andy Reid, all those things I think are good. But anyway, when we come back, we'll wrap up the show. Misty and I will head you into the weekend. Josh has the Bills and the Commanders. One thinks Will. What you really want is, and we'll talk a little bit inauguration, and we'll get you ready for the weekend. Oh, I just want to
See y'all.
Bye. Have
Are
a
you
good
lunching or
weekend.
no?
I should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, man. Yeah, it's probably going to be the Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't want that, but get a little rematch situation.
I don't think it would be a bad Super Bowl if that happened. You look, if you're.
I think it would be. I think either way you slice it, honestly, I think it's going to be a good Super Bowl, I think. That's my hope. I mean.
Oh, I forgot to do trivia.
Oh, we can't now because he's not here. Save it. Is it something that can be saved?
If Jaden Daniels wins.
Oh, okay. But, yeah, I don't know.
Well, the Bills and the Commanders, Redskins, that was a Super Bowl.
As soon as this is over, I'm out. We're celebrating Cassidy's birthday. So I gotta jet out.
Y'all pretty much have something every Friday celebratory.
Lately we have. I feel like it's just been like recent. But yeah, a lot of it does start like right around 9. So.
Yeah, I thought so. They beat the Bills.
And I mean, the Chiefs are good, and I do like the Chiefs. I'm just getting tired of Patrick's crap.
Chiefs fatigue.
That's just where I'm at. It's not even Chiefs overall. It's just him for me. Like, they're a really good team, have a really good coaching staff. Like, obviously they're doing things right, but I'm just annoyed with the way that they have squeaked by some of these wins because of the officiating.
Yeah.
That's what irks me about it.
I just think that,
Because big plays like what happened against the Texans, that changes the whole momentum of the game. I mean, if they wouldn't have converted and, maybe the Texans could have pulled it off. I don't know. But that definitely didn't do them any favors. And going back and seeing that the call was what it was, I'm like, that should just not have been allowed. But it is what it is at this point.
yeah, it's
Weren't those pictures so cute?
funny.
Oh my gosh, there were some really good ones. There's one, the one of me like with my eyes and mouth open. I'm like, oh my gosh, like.
Holston's doing some walking too. Every once in a while we get new ones.
I know. Well, and it was really cold this morning, so. They are dedicated though. We have had the same one since we moved in.
But when you think that, it's no different than if those that go to whatever gym they go to.
No, you're right. Yeah,
Mhm.
this is their gym.
Yeah, and we were talking last night at an HBA event that, was talking to some folks about us being here, and we have the mall walkers, and I said, y'all, and one of them said, we ever come walking at the mall? They said, no, we'd go broke. And I was like, stores aren't open. We're the only thing open.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know when mezzanine, I guess mezzanine may be open for coffee, but.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
But yeah, then you got Chewy's, you see that they got the fence around that,
Yeah.
that's exciting. I haven't figured out why the random trees survived.
Oh my
There's
gosh.
one tree in the middle that's getting to, I guess, hang out.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah. Are y'all going to that deal tomorrow, any?
Mm-mm.
They've got me in seeing a live auction part.
That'll be fun. Yeah, I mean, I say that. I don't think we are, but who knows? We could make an appearance.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack, sports life and everything in between. As we get ready to send you into the weekend, lots going on. Head over to Lytle Land and Cattle, where you can get you a Hodge Pack and get ready. Great food, great all the things hanging out at Lytle Land and Cattle. We appreciate all of you this morning. We appreciate Coach Postel and his Lady Pirates as they get ready for homecoming. I think it's cool they do that, and I'm sure they've been doing homecoming a long time. Again, Beulah doesn't have football, and I'm serious. We were just talking about mall walkers. There's regulars right there. Every once in a while we get a new mall walker, like, hey, maybe new year, new me, I'm gonna start walking.
Yeah, and they're like looking at us like, who are you? And we're like, who are you?
Yeah,
This is our house.
You didn't sign up.
Yeah.
Did you sign in at the door?
You're new here. We're not.
Like, yeah, we had to get permission on to film them, I guess. But yeah, a lot of it going on. But again, Beulah tonight, and I'll be honest with you, it'd be a good girls game, good boys game. Gordon won state in football, have a chance to win state in basketball. Coach Postel mentioned it, the new alignment of how they're doing playoffs, big school, small school. Jayton and Gordon are going to have to play each other early, which will be wild. And so anyway, but it's been a big week, and I said this on Monday or leading up to Monday, and I even said last Friday on the show. Monday was a big day. You had MLK Day, you had inauguration, and then you had the national championship. And now you start seeing things coming to end with football, because this weekend, again, we've got 3 football games left. Got the championship games and, of course, the Super Bowl. Briefly, I heard you and Josh talking about it, and that's why I brought it up to talk on air. Carrie Underwood nailed it.
Yeah.
The inauguration was interesting. It was a lot of pomps and circumstance, which rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people in the room that a lot of money in the room, a lot of
Yeah.
power in the room.
Wild, yeah.
And then what was the reason? I haven't seen it, except why did she have to sing a cappella?
So I guess there was just a technical glitch, and they, you can kind of see her looking around like, what's going on? And then I thought it was so cute. She was like, she kind of mouthed like acapella, like to whoever she was looking at, and I guess got the green light and said, all right, if you know the words, sing along. I mean, it was just,
because I thought, wasn't there a band playing?
I think, yeah, a choir or something maybe. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I mean, I just thought it was so cute when she was like, if you know the words, sing along, like, let's do this. It was just like such a down to earth moment for this huge country star. And she's just so gifted and talented and just beautiful. I mean, it was just awesome. It couldn't have gone better in that moment, no matter what side of the fence you're on. That was really cool for her to do that in that moment.
Yeah, it was.
She won the day.
Oh, for sure. And a couple things just want to remind you about as you heard our comeback music was part of What I Do by Mark Powell. Outlaws and Legends are coming up. But here in the Mall of Abilene, starting February 1st, is a singer-songwriter competition for Outlaws and Legends. I'm not going to reveal anything as far as who might be doing it because you just go. But it'll be, though, Saturday nights in February, beginning February 1st. A chance for those people to advance to the final and get to perform at Outlaws and Legends and be on the lineup with people like Clint Black and Ella Langley and Black Hawk and Kevin Fowler and Mark Powell and all those people that are on it. So a big opportunity, and Hess does a good job hosting that. And so be on the lookout for that. Of course, we encourage you to download, subscribe, rate, review the podcast if you want to go back and listen to previous episodes and all those things. But Misty, so do you have basketball tomorrow?
So Collins is actually missing her game tomorrow. She's going to Lubbock with a friend, and they're going to watch the Tech women's basketball game tomorrow, and then the men's game on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
So she's going and going to have her own little weekend of basketball in the stands, rooting for.
By herself, leaving y'all, or going with her?
No, she's going with Michelle and Kennedy
wow.
and Maddie, and yeah, that's something Michelle wanted to do and asked if she could take her, and so yeah, Clay and I are kidless, and I don't know. Maybe we'll go to Home Depot. Like, I don't know what we're going to get into.
Don't know if I have enough time.
I don't know.
But we talked about it in kind of as we get ready to close. And of course, we appreciate KLGD and you got JB Cloud coming in. Do you think, and I'll steal some of this from Unsportsmanlike, who do you think this weekend means more to, Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes?
Oh, I think Josh, he's just got that hunger, and, he's been so close, and like he can taste it, but he just can't get the monkey off of his back. And so, I mean, I know Patty obviously wants the three-peat, but, he's had success like pretty much his whole entire every season. He's been doing great things. And so I think this means more to Josh. It means it's just different. Like I said, the success level is different, and I would think that it would mean more to Josh Allen.
And see, I wonder if for a guy like Andy Reid and connecting it to Mahomes, we said this, and I know it's a different level, but when Albany won back-to-back state championships, a lot of people thought, would Denny Faith retire? I wonder if you talk about what else is there to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Reid joined the 300-win club. Does he want to stick around and beat Shula? Now you got a head start on a break because Belichick went to college, so he's not going to do it. What Mahomes would be like, and he's got to get through the Bills this weekend, but he is getting to play at home.
Mm-hmm. And that is huge.
It is big.
It is big. Arrowhead is hard to play in.
And that's why they made sure once they had that, they wanted to get the number one seed. They took advantage of the bye, whether they took advantage of the calls or whatever. They took advantage of the bye.
Too.
Would be, what is Mahomes going to be like without Andy Reid?
No, you're
And if
you're
Andy
right.
Reid were and the Chiefs were to win the three-peat, would Travis Kelce retire early like Gronk did? to me, I think in the next few weeks, depending on what happens this weekend, you may, and maybe Andy Reid, well, I've won. It's going to take another 3 years to win it, to do a three-peat if we're going to try to do it and be the first. If they lose this weekend, would he check? So I do think over the next few weeks, not only with the Cowboys hopefully hiring a coach somewhere, but I think this is going to be a pivotal moment for the Chiefs
Several people, yeah.
and the NFL in its entirety. So it'll be interesting. We appreciate you again. We appreciate Coach Fostel and the girls coming in today. We'll be back next week. The Super Bowl will be set. Somebody will be going home. Will it be Josh Allen? Will it be Patrick Mahomes? And can Jaden Daniels continue this run and lead the Commanders to the Super Bowl in his rookie season? We'll find out. We'll have that next week with Hodge Pack, Sports Life, and everything in between right here on 106.9 The Country Channel.
Oh, okay. Out here.
Huh?